Yeah, because it says the word velocity gives you a velocity. So that's how you know. So now what three key pieces of information do we need to set up this problem? H of t, v naught, and lastly, guys, sitting up nice and tall while we're taking notes. H naught. What is the model? What is my equation? Just general formula. H of t equals negative 16 t squared plus v naught t plus h naught. What is my h of t? What is my ending height? Read the problem. What is my ending height? 100 feet. What is my velocity? What's my velocity? 104.13. And what's my starting height? What's my starting height, Lucas? 848. So now what am I going to do with that information? Plug it in. 100 equals negative 16 t squared plus 104.13 t plus 848. What's my next step? Subtract 100. Zero equals negative 16 t squared plus 104.13 t plus what? 48. 748. Now what three key pieces of information do we have? A, B, and C. Good. What's my A? Negative 16. What's my B? 104.13. And what's my C? Good. What formula are we going to use? Exactly. Quadratic formula, which is T equals negative B B squared minus what? Exactly. All right, so plug in all of the information you have now. (104.13) squared minus 4 A C all over 2A. What's 104.13 squared? Everybody should be getting out their calculators.
I don't have enough room for that.
You don't have what?
I don't have enough room for that.
Just write really small or use the back or use the sides. What's 104.13 squared? Everybody do it out. What'd you get?
108.
What'd you guys get? I know 2 people got it. Yes. Someone else, tell me. Tell me, what'd you get? 10,843. Is my sign going to be negative or positive? We have a negative times a positive. What happens when you multiply 4, 16, and 748? Positive, right? And what's the number? 47,872. 2 times negative 16? All right, on your own, simplify it further. Figure out what's under the square root and then square root it. What'd you guys get? 10,843.056 plus 47,872. I got something a little different. Would you guys get 58,715.056? Did you do? Now square root that and tell me what you get.
What did you get, Mike?
You tell me what you got.
58,700.
Yep, that's what I got. So now square root that and tell me what you get. Me too. Now what's your next step going to be? When you get to here, what do you have to do? Two. Yep. And then what's your other step going to be? You're going to subtract them. So there's going to be 2 answers. Do the first one out and tell me what you get. The final decimal. Tell me what you get for each. The final answer. Lucas. What'd you guys get?
For the first one, I got -4.3.
Negative 4.3. What about the other one? Somebody else. 10 point. 10 point what? We'll do 10.82. Which one is the correct answer? Which one applies to the problem? 10.82. Why? Why is this the only answer? Because time can't be negative. Right. I was just repeating it. Okay, so now we're moving on to a different type of factoring. We're taking everything we've been doing it and we're applying it to this type of problem. Do we know how to pull out a GCF? Yes. Do we know how to factor when A is not 1 and A is prime? Like what we did on Friday? Yes. all we're doing is doing both of those steps in one problem. So looking at number 1, 6x squared plus 20x minus 16. What's my GCF? What can 6, 20, and negative 16 all be divided by? 2. It's supposed to say GCF, but I heard someone say 4 and I wrote 4 by accident. Okay. What do you have left over when you pull out a 2? Minus 8. We're just dividing each of these terms by 2 to figure out what's left over. Can we factor this inside part? Yes. What are my factors of A? Factors of 3. 1 and 3. What are my factors of C? 2 and 4. 1 and 8. What's going to go here? 3x and x. Which factor do you want to choose? 2 and 4. Where do you want to put the 2? Where do you want to put the 4? 2 in the front? And 4 here? Okay, let's check. Let's check inner and outer. We have 2x, and we have what? 12x. Can that in some way come out to 10x? Yes. Which one has to be negative? The 2x. So it'd be 3x minus 2 times x plus 4. You have to also drop down this 2. It doesn't go away because it's part of your answer. Does that make sense? Look at number 2. What's my GCF? We have a 6x squared minus 33x plus 45. What's my GCF? Write the problem. Write it on the board. Follow along with the notes. We have 6x squared minus 33x plus 45. What can they all be divisible by? 3. GCF is 3. Why can't we pull out an x? Because why? Right, 45 doesn't have an x attached to it. We can't pull it out. What's left over when we pull out 3? 2x squared minus 11x plus 15. Can we factor that inside part? Yes. What are my factors of A? 1 and 2. What are my factors of C? 1 and 15. 3 and 5. What's going to go here? Here? Which factor do you want to choose? 1 and 15 or 3 and 5?
3 and 5.
Okay, where do you want to put the 3 and where do you want to put the 5? 3 here? And 5 here? Okay, let's check inner and outer. What's my inner? 3x. What's my outer? 10x. Does that come out to 11x in some way? No, so let's try something else. Let's try switching them. So what's my inner? 5x. And my outer? 6x. Does that come out to 11? What do the signs have to be? They both have to be what? Negative. We have a positive C, so the signs have to be the same, and we have a negative 11x. They both have to be negative. Number 3. What we did on Friday and Thursday was this, but we didn't have to factor out a GCF because there was no GCF to be factored out. Nope, it's factorable. What's my GCF? Lucas, can you come sit up here, please? What's my GCF? Negative 1. Remember, for a term is negative, we have to pull out a negative 1. What's left over when we pull out a negative 1?
2x squared.
2x squared minus 13x minus 7. Sit up, follow along. What are my factors of A? 2 and 1. What are my factors of C? 7 and 1. What goes here? 2x. Here? X. And we only have one option for a factor. We have 1 and 7. Where do you want to put the 1? Where do you want to put the 7? 1 first? So that gives us 1x and 14x. Can that be combined to get to 13? Yes. Which one has to be negative? Which one has to be positive? The 1 has to be positive and the 14 has to be negative, which means we have to do x minus 7. Warm in here. What's my GCF for number 4? 2. There. What's my GCF for number 4? We have negative 10x. Right, negative 2. What's left over when we pull out a negative 2? Positive 5x squared. Negative 58 divided by 2? 29. X. Positive 20. Factors of A. 1 and 5. Factors of C.
4 and 5.
Yep. Goes here. 5x. Here. X. Which factor do you want to choose? 4 and 5. Where do you want to put the 4? First or second? First. And 5 here? Let's check it. Inner is what? 4x. Outer is 25x. Does that come out to 29x? Yes. What does the sign have to be? They both have to be positive, right? And make sure you're still writing in that negative 2. It doesn't go away. It's part of our factoring. Number 5 is a little different. What is number 5 called? Binomial, right. What is our GCF? 2. Can we pull out any x's? Yes, they both have x's. How many? Somebody has 5 and somebody has 3. 3. What's left? 16x squared minus 1. Can you factor that out? Yes. You can always factor it out. Not always, but in this case you can. What are my factors of A? 1 and 16. What else, guys? 2 and 8. And 4 and 4. What are my factors of C? What's going to go here? We have 3 options. But we notice it's a binomial and our middle term has to equal 0. So what has to go here? So whenever we have a binomial, to get our middle term to equal 0, it has to be the same number. So it has to be 4x and 4x. They have to be the same. What about for the other place? We know it's going to be 1 and 1. We only have one option, and they're the same number. What are the signs going to be? Plus, minus. So really quickly, let's factor this out. Inner is what? 4x. Outer is what? Negative 4x. What does that come out to? 0. And we have no middle term. 0 is our middle term, and that's why it works why you have to choose the same number. Okay? Try number 6 on your own. Figure out the GCF. List A and C factors. Yeah.
I don't got that number.
What number?
So the one that you want us to do right now.
It's right on the board. So copy it down into your notes and follow along. Okay? Okay, good. Make sure you sit up when you work. Try number 6. So figure out what the GCF is. So now when you do inner and outer, does it come out to that? Mm-hmm. Negative 2x minus 88x. Does that come out to 95? Negative 2 and 88. Come on, find the GCF. Guys, figure out the GCF. Alright, what'd you guys get? What'd you get? 2. What are you left with when you factor out 2? 11x squared minus 95x plus 16. What are my factors of A? 1 and 11. What are my factors of C? 4 and 4, 2 and 8, 1 and 16. Which factors did you choose? What did you guys choose? 2 and 8. Okay, so where'd you put the 2 and where'd you put the 8? 2 in the first one, 8 in the second one? So what happens when you do inner and outer? Inner is what? 2x. Outer is what? Does that come out to 95? No. So what happens when you switch them? You get 8x, 22x. Does that come out? Did you try 4 and 4? 4x and 44x. Does that come out? No. What about 1 and 16? Jonathan, sit up, follow along. Did that come out to 95? No. This one, you have to stop here. This is your completed factored version or answer. That says factors as it gets. You can't break it down anymore. You're not going to write not factorable because you can still factor out a 2, but after that it can't be factored further. Okay? Try number 7 on your own. Now do 7 on your own. Sit up.
How come I have one folders?
Not today. Figure out the GCF.
I can't focus.
Okay, well, just pay attention only to what's going on here. Figure out the GCF. Figure out the GCF. What's your GCF going to be for here? What number can all of these be divided by? 2. But it's a negative A term, so it has to be -2. Right. Can you work through the notes?
Trying.
I know, but you're pushing through. Find your GCF.
2.
2, but A is negative, so it has to be -2. What'd you guys get for your GCF? -2. That's what I got. All right, what are you left with? 3x squared plus 5x minus 12. Factors of A, 1 and 3. Factors of C, 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4. You know what it is? Okay, so first part, you're going to put what? 3x and x. Which factor did you choose? 4 and 3. Did you put 4 first or second? First. Okay, so let's see if she's right. Inner is what? 4x. Outer is what? 9x. Which one has to be negative? Which one has to be positive to get to a 5? The 4, right. So 3x minus 4, x plus 3. The rest of this worksheet is your homework. So until the bell rings, this is what you should be working on. And I'll be around for questions. What? Yeah. Yes, finish that. Yes. Why are you having trouble focusing?
I did, man.
What?
I did, man. I work better with headphones on.